Good evening, what's up? Hello, happy Sunday. Whew. Sorry for the delay tonight. I have a new computer and was super excited to be hosting this via computer rather than mobile device because it was a little more functional, but I couldn't get it to start. So it's all good. I sometimes take that as a sign from the universe that I need to do something different when I have those sort of technological glitches. And I was waffling between two different topics for tonight. One was a topic that I think I wanted to do an edited video on, but basically about, it's going to be titled, Why Do So Many Christians Hate Jesus? And how the modern Christian church looks absolutely nothing like the teachings of Christ, and how if he came back, he would say, you all are fuckers. But it's probably for the best I'm not doing that one live, because I'm going to offend some people when I post that one. So I want to make sure I know what I'm saying, and if I need to edit or tweet what I say, it's probably best if it's not in the live stream. So instead, we're going to go with my other idea, which is how to find some peace and feel better when you're sick. So we moved into our new condo last week. As some of you know, I've been talking a lot about that on Patreon, so those of you who are my Patreon supporters, thank you so much. So in addition to all the stress and the craziness of moving and selling our house and getting everything packed, oh good, Gary, I offended you. I'm so glad. I knew that I was going to offend people, so hopefully that just gives you more impetus to watch the video. I like that. Namaste to you. In addition to all that, we just moved into a construction zone, so we're surrounded by people working on our condo, and some of our contractors are sick. So my husband got sick earlier in the week. Now I'm sick. Being sick is not any fun. So what do we do when that happens? What do we do when our bodies give out, when are just feeling like crap, or the things that we normally would do to make ourselves feel better are not an option? I'm sorry, I'm going to pause for a second. I love how somebody is offended by me just saying the topic of the video I'm going to be creating next. If you are really that offended by just exploring the idea of something, this is not the YouTube channel for you. Every single video I post is taking a controversial idea and asking you to explore it in greater depth and greater nuance. And so if you are offended by the idea that modern day Christians have the teachings of Jesus entirely wrong, and you are unwilling to engage in that discourse, then this is not the place for you. This is the place for uncomfortable conversations. This is the place to take the things you think you know and spin them on your head. So namaste and blessings. If I offended you, good riddance, goodbye, I don't want to see you. Leave. If you want to have a healthy discourse and explore things in a new way, you are welcome here. But to just say you're offended by, peace and blessings to you. This is the issue with the world that we're having right now, is people can't have uncomfortable conversations. We can't talk about these difficult things in a meaningful, vulnerable, and heartfelt way. We just speak in absolutes. And so, this is a space where we have those conversations. This is the space for healthy discourse, healthy conflict. As someone just said, thank you. So hopefully, whoever you are, reconsider, listen to what I have to say. And if you really legitimately think there is no disconnect between the teachings of Christ and the way modern Christians live, girl, that's all I'm going to say for now. Girl. All right. So with that said, thank you for obliging me in that little sidetrack. One of the things I love that a spiritual life provides is a sense of well-being and comfort, that you can go into your day, your week, your life, and bring with you a sense of bliss. Now, connecting with that inner state is so much easier when you're feeling good, when you're healthy, when your body's working, when you're not in a difficult mental state. It's much harder when everything makes or you feel like crap. you don't want to be anywhere, or you can't get comfortable, or like me, right now, I can't even breathe. So much fun. And so sometimes it can feel like you're reaching for nothing. You're reaching in that joy, that spark, that essence of love, that brightness that you normally feel isn't there. I live in Washington, D.C., if anyone was asking. But it is possible to use our spiritual work to help us feel better, to heal, to ground, to open, and to connect with divine flow. And so that's what we're going to strive for today. So whether you're watching this live with me, or you're watching a recorded session later, recording this later, you're welcome to be here with me. I'm honored to share this space with you. Whatever is making you not feel well, stress, physical illness, mental illness, virus, bacteria, getting run over by a lawnmower, I don't know, whatever you're dealing with, you're welcome here. So I invite you, get as comfortable as you can. If you're not feeling well, sit up, lay down, do a handstand, whatever makes you feel good. And take just a couple deep breaths. Feel your belly expand on the inhale, contract on the exhale. And whether your capacity for breathing today is great or limited, just observe it. Don't try to make it something other than it is. Just be with wherever you are. Many times for me, when I turn to my breath, I feel an immediate sense of calm, a sense of flow, a sense of joy. Today, not feeling well, I turn to my breath, and what do I feel? I feel like I'm trudging through mud. I feel stuck, I feel achy. Again, whatever you're experiencing is okay. Wherever you are is okay. So see if you can breathe a little deeper, a little more fully. Without effort, without trying to force the breath, can you just go a little deeper? Can you go a little more full? And allow the breath to move you. And what I mean by that is, when we physically breathe, we don't just take in air. We connect with our life force. Different traditions call it different things. Some call it prana, some call it chi, ka. But when we breathe, we pull that energy or we move that energy through us. So can you feel a sense of flow traveling through you? Can you feel a sense of movement? It might be subtle, it might be profound. And ideally, as you breathe, try to feel a sensation of breathing down your front body, exhaling up your back body, making a loop. Inhale from the forehead down to the sexual organs. Exhale into the pelvis, into the base of your body, up the spine to the crown, and then continue on. Now, just doing this simple breathing pattern creates a state of flow. So we have our physical body with its mechanisms, right? Our little veins and arteries, our bones, our organs. Our energy body also has a structure. And just like the central column in our body is our spine. Welcome to Meditating in a City. We have emergency things outside the window. Very different from the chirping of birds we would normally have through the window in our last space. So just so you have the central column of the spine in your physical body, you have a central channel in your energetic body called Sushumna Nadi. And by focusing on this breath pattern, we start to just energize, or you can almost think of it as like a pump system, like moving things through. And so by breathing down the front and exhaling up the back, and creating that flow in the way it's meant to move, we are able to start to clear some things through. Now, I'm a big believer in karma. I'm a big believer that things happen because they're part of your karmic makeup. Your energy body is in a certain pattern and it's attracting experiences that help you resolve your karma. And so by doing this energetic work, we can help heal our energy body. We can help prevent certain karma from forming. And so by doing this energetic flow with our breath, we're able to resolve some of that karma. A little bit, at least. And so if you've attracted something in your life that's physically challenging or mentally challenging, like a police officer outside your window continuing to chirp their little thing, breathing through it can sometimes help to resolve it. You can move through your karma faster by moving consciously, by moving with your energy body, by moving with your breath. And if you can connect with that, it starts to feel really good. It starts to feel really yummy and delicious, maybe even orgasmic. And then notice if you feel like there's areas where things don't want to flow, don't want to move. These blocks can also be connected with what's going on in the physical. So let's say I sprained my ankle. Sometimes I'll work on visualizing my breath, my life force, inhaling into that space and exhaling out of that space, inviting that tension, that swollenness to dissolve and resolve. So too, wherever I feel blocks, I can breathe into that space, imagine or feel my prana, feel my life force, expanding through it, expanding around it, and inviting it to dissolve. And in doing this, we make ourselves more free. Now, this is something I've talked about in many of my YouTube videos, but I think this is a worthwhile idea to just explain again or talk through again and see if it resonates for you. There's nothing good or bad. There is nothing holy or sinful, high or low. Everything is purely energy. And energy can be tightly wound in a more condensed state. You can think of it like physical matter, like a solid. It can be a more flowing state, a more expansive state, like a liquid. It can be in a much more expansive state, a much more moving state, like gas. Or it can be in a very open state, like plasma, very highly charged. With each state, it gets physically bigger and it moves more. It's the same element, it's the same energy. And so when we are feeling those things that we qualify as often as being negative or heavy or uncomfortable, it's not that it's bad, it's just contracted, it's just constricted. And so when we consciously bring our breath, our life force to that and breathe into it and move it, it starts to expand, it starts to melt, it starts to flow, and then we expand it some more and it starts to evaporate, to continue this metaphor, and it starts to take up more space, and then it finally moves into that plasmic state, that spiritual state, where then it just becomes almost pure energy. And this is the journey we take as souls. We choose to become part of this physical reality. And eventually we start the journey of returning back to spirit. Energy and matter, they're the same thing. E equals mc squared. Energy can be converted to matter, matter can be converted to energy, but energy can never be created or destroyed, it just changes forms, and so too is it with us. We come from energy, we will go back to energy. It cannot be destroyed. You cannot be destroyed. But what you can do is with your breath, with your life force, with your mind, with your words even, you can help to move from the state of contraction to openness. And contraction isn't bad. It's not evil, it's not shameful. It's just often uncomfortable. I think we've all had those experiences of just feeling dense and heavy and stuck. When you have those harder emotions like depression, sadness, even anger, right? Like it just doesn't feel good. And when you're in those more elevated emotions, joy, love, compassion, celebration, orgasm, it feels open, it feels flowing. You know, they even say they can measure your magnetic field by your emotional state, that when you're in a more negative state, that the amount your energy, your magnetism exists is measured as being much smaller around your body than when you're in a joyful state. And so this is the journey we're taking, is moving from contraction to expanse, from the finite to the infinite. And when eventually we work through all of our karma, we will have burned through all of the solid things holding us here, and we'll return back to being purely energy, purely spirit. And so if you're experiencing something that's very difficult right now, again, on a mental, emotional, physical level, it doesn't matter. You can breathe into that space and invite it to start to move, start to flow. And this is really no different than what we strive to do on a daily basis when we're feeling well. We try to do a little spiritual work. We try to get things moving, flowing, opening. And today we're working with the breath. That can be a very useful tool. There are many useful tools: visualization, affirmation, sacred sounds, sacred resonances, and mantras. Work with deities or aspects of higher vibrations. That's what we define as being a deity, or some would call it God. We'll be talking about that in that video that I'm sure is offensive to people. You can work with sacred shapes and sacred geometry. I love meditating with the Flower of Life pattern, or a Sri Yantra, or the Metatron cube. all of these things can help us heal. There is nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. William Shakespeare said that in Hamlet, but it's true. There is nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. Yes, I choose to live a life of hopefully minimal harm. Try not to hurt others as much as I can. Certainly avoid going out and buying an AK-15 and shooting them in the face. We'll be talking about that in this week's video too. But even things like that, it's not inherently bad. As I cringe saying that because, again, I would never want to hurt somebody else in that way. It's a choice you made. This is a dream. It's a dream that your soul agreed to step into. A fantasy, a life. And as Alan Watts says in his beautiful speech about the dream machine, imagine if you could go to bed at night and set a machine that you choose what you dreamt. And at first you, of course, would dream to be a king or queen or a dragon or emperor of all. And after a few nights you'd start making it a little more daring, a little more dangerous. And after a while, the predictability would become boring and you would say, hey, what if I choose something totally random, let the machine decide? And you get put into these horrible situations and daring adventures and things you don't think you're going to survive and sometimes don't. But then you wake up and say, wow, what a great adventure. That is our reality we live in, my friends. Yes, I would prefer not to hurt someone else. I prefer not to do a lot of things that create negative karma and create pain and suffering in the world, because pain and suffering is not something that I enjoy or want for anyone else. But it isn't inherently bad. It's the reality that soul signed up for this go around, for this brief stint on Earth. A lifespan that will go by faster than we can imagine. Even if you live to be 107, it will still go by faster than you can imagine. Your time on this planet is briefer than we can ever think. You are going to die. So can you celebrate this life while you are here living it? You have so few precious breaths in this body, in this time, in this reality. Can you savor the comfort and the discomfort, the sickness and the health, the joy and the sorrow? Because in reality, they are all just flip sides of the same coin. And we really can't have one without the other. Now that said, we can choose to navigate towards health, towards love, towards kindness, towards peace, towards generosity, towards forgiveness, towards blessings, towards kindness. We can choose to manifest those qualities. And this is one of the big ideas I'll be discussing on this video that's apparently already controversial this week. When they talk about this idea of creating heaven and living heaven on earth, heaven doesn't exist out there. Well, it does. But heaven exists right here. And so does hell. And we are constantly manifesting our reality. And depending on how you live, you can manifest a heavenly life. And depending on how you live, you can manifest hell on earth. And I don't mean that as an exaggeration. You can quite literally manifest hell on earth. I think we all know those people who live in a living hell. Their days are full of rage and sorrow and anger, and nothing seems to go right. And there are those who see every moment as blessed and sacred and joyful and something to celebrate. They walk through the world and say, how lucky am I to be here? The things just seem to flow for them. As somebody who spent the first roughly 20 3 years of his life living in hell on earth, and now experiencing a little bit of the opposite. I know for myself it's possible, and it's something I'm continuously working on. But you get to choose. You get to choose, and you choose what kind of life you're living. You can choose wellness. You can choose health, even when you're sick. Even when you're not able to sleep because you can't breathe. It's up to you. For those of you who are suffering, for those of you who are sick, for those of you who are not feeling well, I do want to offer you one other blessing today. This is a sacred series of syllables for healing. Since I'm very stuffed up right now, I'm probably not going to be able to chant very well. So this is not going to be my prettiest, but just try and take these sounds and let them wash over you and see how they affect you. Dambe kazebe kazemahabe kazebe kazarazik samgate swaha. 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 Shanti, shanti, shanti. Take an ash. You are beautiful. You are sacred. You are holy. You are divine. You are God made flesh. And so is everyone else. You are the creator of this world, quite literally. You manifested this reality. And now you're playing the part you set out for yourself. So play it well. Choose kindness, choose compassion, choose love for yourself as much as anyone else. I know that even when you're in your deepest, darkest moments of pain, suffering, despair, confusion, it's possible to remember to take a breath. To feel the expansion, the flow that dwells within you. To remember that you are light that is temporarily taken a physical body. You are well, all has been well, all will be well. And this current moment does not reflect on your ultimate truth. You are perfect, you have always been, you will always be. No matter what you are suffering, it doesn't matter. It's not your truth. You are perfect. You are perfect. You are perfect. And this situation is perfect. All is well. Someone was asking if I could talk a little bit more about karma and what is karma. I did a whole video on it where I dived into it in depth. So I just recommend dropping into my regular videos and just typing in karma. I think it's called What is Karma? I think that's the best way for me to provide an in-depth response. But I did kind of give a little brief introduction to it here. Basically, it's every action, every thought, anything you've done from a place of will has created an impression on your energetic body. And that impression is going to call to future events to correct that impression. So if you act willfully in a greedy way, you're going to have an indentation in your energy body that reflects that. And then you're going to call for experiences that correct So you might be experiencing somebody being greedy to you and living in lack, or having to observe the effects of your greed. Now, the thing about karma is depending on where you are in your evolutionary cycle and what kind of karma, it may not happen right away. The more evolved you are, the more the effects of your action will come back quicker. But for the average person, you might not see the effects of your karma until your next lifetime, or 5 lifetimes from now. And if it was a big impression, you might have to play through that karma over the course of 7, 8, 9, 10 incarnations. I remember one spiritual teacher talking about having to go through being born and dying shortly after birth 11 times in his memory of past lives to resolve this certain karma that he had to go through. So when you see people who are acting deplorably and don't seem to be getting their just desserts, cough, cough, certain politicians we can name, certain executives, do not worry. They will be spending their next life as a cockroach, and for many after that. If you are not aware of your past life karma, is it not unfair that you don't know what your past life karma is? Yeah, actually, it doesn't really matter. Because whatever your current circumstance is, it's telling you what your past life karma was. So, if you're dealing with shit right now, it tells you a little bit about what you were dealing with before. And what you can do is you can do spiritual work to purify your karma, because some of it can be destroyed, some of it can be diminished, some of it can be mitigated. Some of it you're just going to have to experience. You can be conscious of your actions, your thoughts, and your words, because they're generating your future karma. You can have kindness for everyone, because everybody's dealing with their own shit. That goes a long way. And you can have gratitude. That no matter what happens to you, you say, thank you for the lesson. Thank you for the hardship that it brings me. One of my favorite teachings is that when you bless people, you should start with blessing your enemies. One, because it helps resolve the negative karma with them, but two, like, they're suffering. And if they weren't suffering, they probably wouldn't be doing such nasty stuff. So again, very rough overview. I recommend checking out the edited video I made on what is karma. It goes into it in greater depth. But thank you for asking that question. And you're always welcome to ask questions. If ever you have anything that's going on for you, this is also a forum where you can just drop a note and say, hey, I'm experiencing this. Karma is energy that what we sow we shall reap. No, that is true. So that's at least without reasoning. If you exist without reasoning, that means you are very connected to a different realm of consciousness. So, in the Vajrayana Buddhist tradition, they talk about there being different realms. So we just talked about like a heavenly realm and a hell realm, and you can manifest that. There are other realms in between that you can also manifest. So you can manifest the realm of the hungry ghosts, you can manifest the realm of the animals, you can manifest the realm of the Asuryas, or you can manifest the heavenly realm of the Devas. So if you find yourself acting without reason and moving more on instinct, then that means you probably spent some recent lives in the realm of the animals, that you are more instinctual, that you have understanding, but there's a level of ignorance there about what's going on. It's not a bad realm. The realm of the animals is actually a very healing realm. It's where we dive down for shamanic healing work. We go into the underworld to help bring primal wisdom and primal earthy forces to create healing and change in the world. But I would consider starting a meditation practice and then a self-reflection practice, reading spiritual books, journaling, so you become aware. Of why you're behaving that way. Have you tried to open your third eye through yoga, and did you activate it? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're meditating, you can set what are called drishtis. And some of the major drishtis that you focus on are your chakras. Now, each tradition says there's a certain different number of chakras. Some say 6, some say 7, some say 8. But some of the common ones are the ones right up here on top of the head. Sahasrara chakra, the Anya chakra, third eye, the throat, the heart, the belly, the sexual organs, and then the root. Some of those change. Everybody experiences them differently. And this is the thing about energetic work, is it's not like, you can cut open a cadaver and say, oh, there's the vessel, blood vessel, there's the bone. It's very much your own personal experience. So some people will set their drishti and meditate on their third eye, and they'll be like, wow, I'm seeing colors, I'm seeing auras, I see fireworks, this is amazing, oh my god, I look around and the world looks like the Matrix movie, it's all just lines of energy. Cool, that's their experience. Some people have very dramatic experiences of their energy body, dramatic experiences of their chakras. Other people don't. Other people, it's very subtle, it's very gradual. Also, people have different ways of perceiving energy. So for myself, I'm predominantly a kinetic energy person. I feel things. I don't usually have visual experiences. I'll sometimes have auditory experiences where I hear voices, but usually it's experiential. The dogs are about to bark. Hang on. Hey, honey! Husband just got home. I'm very experiential, so for me, the feelings of connecting with my energy body has less to do with like, oh my god, I see the universe, and more of just sensations and feelings and an intuitive sense that happens on a deeper level. So yes, have I worked with my third eye? Absolutely. But everybody's different in how they experience it. And ultimately, if you are somebody who has really flashy experiences, those people tend to have issues with a little bit of burnout. And they often, it's like fireworks get done, and they're over. Do you meditate every day? Do you feel it helps with anxiety and depression? I do meditate every day, twice a day. I've done that since 2008. And yes, absolutely, it does help me tremendously with maintaining my mental health. I would be fucking nuts without it. Some people go crazy by opening their third eye and can't switch it off. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of doing intense energetic practices that force things to open. I don't teach strong pranayamas. Okay? Like, you've never seen me on this YouTube channel teach you like breath of fire or strong kundalini awakening practices. I'm not a huge fan of trying to force those things. Because there's this idea if you just show up every day with gratitude and open heart and do more gentle work and just let it naturally evolve, things will go well. Like, you look at plants, right? They don't scream as they're trying to grow. It just happens. And so if we allow our own energetic development to happen naturally, it should be a joyful, peaceful process and something that allows you to maintain, a robust but grounded spiritual experience. Forcing something to open generally doesn't go well. And if somebody spontaneously has that happen to them, which does on a rare occasion happen, like have a spontaneous kundalini awakening or things like that, then they need to find somebody who can help them through that situation and not try to manage it on their own. It can also be symptomatic of other major imbalances going on in your life, because that should only happen if you're really imbalanced in a certain way. Otherwise, there are psychic mechanisms in place to protect you from it. All right, well, thank you guys for the very fascinating questions. Sending you so much love. Thank you for being here. It's such an honor to share this space and time with you. I hope you found this valuable. If you did, please drop a comment, drop a note, share it with somebody. I'm here every week. To your hand to be able to take it in. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for taking your time for this. As I always say, your time is your most precious resource. Once you give it away, you'll never get it back. So thank you for taking some of your time with me. Sending you much love. I hope you find peace. I hope you find joy. I hope you enjoy this beautiful, beautiful, tender time of the year where summer is just about to begin and it's still, quiet and cool enough for us to roll together and enjoying it. So enjoy this time. It's really special. So thank you all for your love. Thank you all for your attention. Sending you love and blessings. Talk to you all soon.